What's up guys, Intelitech Studios here, and we have a machine that you probably haven't seen in a while. This is the Iona Fantom Lightning, the 1998 Fantom canister, very similar to a Dyson DC-02. In fact, out of every Fantom, it's the one that is the closest to its Dyson counterpart. It is basically a Dyson DC-02 with a HEPA filter and a power head. So, very, very nice. Now, this one I've had for quite a while. I tried to sell this a while ago, back after I first got it, and a failed return attempt happened. I basically complained to the seller about some issues with the machine. The seller offered a partial refund. I said I wanted a return, so I rejected the partial refund, and then my return got closed because I wasn't able to find a box in time because I'd already used the box that it shipped in. And I lost out on both the return and the partial refund. Obviously, looking back on it, I should have taken the partial refund because at least I would have gotten like $30 back off the machine. But whatever, that money's gone, and this machine is still in my possession. I was trying to sell it for quite a long time for around $180. Nobody seemed to be interested, so it's still in my collection. And haven't used it. Ever since I did the review on it, I haven't used it. But I figured maybe we'll do a video on, well, using it. Oh, okay, that almost fell over. So, one of the flaws of this machine, this power head, if you can hear that, needs a bit of a service. And I haven't figured out yet how to take apart one of these Lightning power heads, because the Thunders and the Furies are pretty easy to work on. They're pretty self-explanatory. This power head, not so much. So I do need to look at the repair guides and see what all is there. So, but hopefully this power head will run better since it's not on the plush carpet. But obviously the belt, or however this power head is driven, I'm pretty sure there is a belt that goes to the brush roll motor, and that belt was probably stretched out. So, yeah. So if we open this, if my phone doesn't freeze, my phone keeps freezing, I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. Pop this up, we can see both filters in there. Cyclone assembly, about what you'd expect. Oh, that's about to fall as I grab that with my leg. It's not really okay, I was going to say, it's not really clicking into place. Okay. There we go. So now, we're going to use this to vacuum the rug and see if this thing explodes. Now, I haven't turned this on in a while, so it's entirely possible this thing sounds awful. We're about to find out. Wow. I forgot, I know under the hood this thing's a Dyson, but I didn't remember what this sounded like. And so it somehow slipped my mind. This literally sounds, well, like a Dyson. And that makes sense if you think about it because it is a Dyson. It's the same molding as a Dyson. It's a DCO2. And it sounds like, well, it sounds like a 120 volt DCO2 with a random power head strapped to it. So, if you noticed, this does still have the power head shorting issue, which I'm pretty sure isn't much of an actual shorting, but just like, if you see how loose this connection is, because when I'm pushing forward and it's pushing the connection in place via the friction, it's working fine. It's when I pull it back, and the force of me pulling it back, even if gently, separates that connection and causes it to short out and turn off. Doesn't damage it per se, but it basically reduces the strength of the connection and causes it to cut in and out. And also, you can see it looks like a droopy sock. So, yep. And now the interesting thing is that this machine, again, this is part of the reason why I just love Fantoms. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of bagless machines in general, at least not nowadays, Fantoms are just one of those machines where I don't know what it is, they just always manage to work very well. And some people may disagree with that, but it's just, seriously, it's just how it is. We can see pre-motor filter. That's seen better days. Or is that, no, that's the post-motor filter, right? Put that back in there. And then this is, that's also a filter. I think this is this is post-motor. No, whatever, doesn't really matter. If we take out the bin, and if you notice, this thing's kind of off balance when you take out the bin, it just kind of flops up just from the off balance of weight. If we look in here, you can see all that fine dust. You can see that hair, grit, got some like sand of some kind. And I haven't been here. The last time that I was here was when I filmed another video at this house on this rug. So that's impressive. Very impressive, to say the least. So you can see there's a little handle right here. Pull the cyclone off. You can see plenty of fine dust on that. And there's everything in the bin. A lot of fine dust in there. So you can see all that. You've got hair, dust, dirt, all sorts of stuff. Filter seems to be okay. The indicator hasn't turned on. We got some dust throughout the machine, obviously. Nowadays, even with the HEPA filters on this machine, it's not the most hygienic machine in the world because you still have to deal with dust when you empty it. And there's also the fact that this is back before sealed systems were really a thing. And even if it's not advertised as a sealed system, or I should say whether or not it's advertised as a sealed system, when you have a machine this old, the seals obviously have deteriorated to some degree. Maybe not enough to make it dangerous to use, but perhaps enough to make it not ideal for allergy sufferers. So now the question is, which way does this go back? Okay, I see this little notch here. Oh, I see. because that notch is where the hose comes in. So it just slides back in like that. Slides right back on. Clips downwards, just like that. There's the inner cyclone, outer cyclone, dual cyclonic technology. It's what made Dyson and Fantom famous. Filters. But yeah, so, you know what? Oh! Okay. Oh, so that's the power. Okay, that just freaked me out. So that's the power switch. I didn't. I was just like messing with that. I thought that was like a pull tab. Nope, that's the power switch. You can tell there's a 12 amp motor because it dims all the lights in the house. But yeah. Oh, doesn't want to. Oh, did that go? Nope, that didn't. It's always a pain to get this to... There we go. Gotta be a little bit rough with it to get that back into place. That lovely logo. But yeah, I figured I'd post something Fantom related since good YouTube friend just decided to post something else Fantom related that is interesting to say the least. I am definitely more favorable towards these lightnings. Now, I was never really against these lightnings because they were lightnings. It was just because they were canisters. And also, I gotta say, every time I use this again, I forget how big it actually is. Like, for some reason in my mind, I always imagine this being like 2/3 the size. It's not. It's a big canister. It's a big, bulky, honkin' canister. And compared to more lightweight offerings like, you know, the DC-26 City and the Bissell Zing, I'm sure this is probably bulky in its own regards. Stair hugger design. Can't be mad at that. So, yeah. You can see all that lovely dust right there. And one little interesting thing that I discovered. I really hope, because of my viewfinder, the video is like freezing. I really hope that's not actually showing up on camera. If it is, if the video is like randomly freezing, I apologize. My phone's been just freezing all over the place anytime it plays video for no reason. And I don't know why it's doing that. So here's the wand, or the handle, I should say. So you have to have this little handle. You can't not have it. Got this metal that's obviously worn down from use. There's no protective plastic tip on it or anything. So one thing that's interesting, since this is under the hood of Dyson, it actually does have better suction than a lot of the Fantoms did. And Dyson attachments perfectly fit on board. Look at that. So this one's designed for like the 07, 14, 17, 18, that sort of thing. And it fits. But the question is, does it work? Oh, that's not the power switch, that's for the power head. Oh, there it goes. Not all that fast. Well, that was weird. I just dropped the handle and it landed right on the power button. Okay. See, this stuff like this is why I don't like canisters. You saw the hose getting wrapped around me, the cord getting tangled all around me, the power head flopping all around and not turning properly. That's why I don't like canisters. But this is still much better than the Elite canister, the Elite cyclonic canister that came out about 20 years after this machine did. In fact, over 20 years, I think. Yeah, so what I said about this machine having more suction airflow, scratch that, because one thing I remembered is that the dual cyclonic Dysons didn't have a ton of suction either, and they weren't that dissimilar from the Fantoms, or honestly, any machine at the time. So obviously any direct air machine from the 90s is going to have very poor suction by today's standards, so definitely not enough to drive a turbo brush. But Fantom at one point did sell a turbo brush, and I can imagine how well that worked out, given the fact that this is probably one of the better sucking Fantoms versus the Thunders and Domestics and Furies, which had hardly any suction. Still much better than like a Hoover Elite, that pistol power clean, something like that, but still not enough to power a turbo brush, which also explains why this is a power head and why the British equivalent that didn't have a power head just had a straight suction head and not a turbo head, because it obviously would not have been able to drive a turbo head. I don't think they put turbo heads on the canisters, and well, actually there's a version of the DC-05 with a turbo head, I believe, and the DC-11, DC-08 had turbo heads, so wasn't all that uncommon. But for the 02, which is what this is based off of, no such thing. So yep, so no turbo brush, but other Dyson attachments will fit. So the key is can I even reach, because the good ones are on those machines and I can't really reach those. So I guess I'll just grab this crappy upholstery tool that has the felt strips ripped off of it. So if I turn this, let me just set this down real quick. Just turn this, put it right on the end, just like that, and there we go. Isn't that fancy? Ha! I will say, though, obviously using this machine for attachments, very, very nice. This hose is a very nice length. You can see I can hold it up all the way to the ceiling. So it's a good length. This handle, while you can't remove it, it is a very comfortable handle. It actually reminds me of a handle that you'd find on like a Shark, like a Navigator liftaway, only better because this loop thing doesn't stick out so far from the machine that you're putting a lot of weight on the machine. This is actually much closer to the actual spine of the hose cuff, making it a lot more manageable. So Shark has something to learn from the company that they bought the name off of. But yeah, so that's the Fantom Lightning. I don't think there's much else to say about it. But as I've used it more and more, this is just a very nice machine. And I understand why it's a lot of people's favorite Fantoms. But yeah, so definitely a nice machine. Definitely one that I'm still happy to have. Definitely one that I'm glad that it didn't actually end up selling. So that's definitely nice. And just make sure to get this last little bit of dust that I might have left behind from when I dumped the bin. And this swiveling joint does work kind of well. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. There's a very evil part of me that really wants to use this machine as a bench vac, because a canister is the best bench vac. This is one out of maybe 4 canisters that I own that work, but that's obviously not a good decision. If you want a bench vac, something bagged is probably a better choice, and something that's not rare, collectible, and one that you can't find parts for if you end up breaking during a repair of a different machine. So yeah, so that's the Fantom Lightning. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace. Also, any requests for machines that you want to see up and running, since if there's a machine you want to see that's over here that isn't at my other house, I'm not going to take it over to the other house, so I'm either going to run it in, if it's already at my house, I'm going to run it in the house, and if it's already here, I'm going to run it here, whether it's in the bedroom or in the living room, either way. So I know someone requested the Powerlifter Bag Pet. I'll probably do that at some point. And yeah, so plenty of good machines. Well, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the Fantom Lightning. And also, if you guys want to see more videos like this, of course, comment below, say what you want to do. And if you want to contribute to the channel directly, help me get more machines, help me fix up some of the ones that I have, just a little bit easier, then if you want to contribute to the channel's Patreon, link in the description. If you want to back any of those tiers, ignore the higher end ones, like the ones that are, you know, expensive. You can just ignore those unless you don't want to. That's fine too. So, until Tech Studios, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace.